Yo, yo, yo. This is Candy B Knittin. I'm Candy B. I be knitting. And today I be showing you what I've been working on. This is the 29th, whatever today is. We got 2 more weeks left in 2024. I am off work for those 2 weeks. So, I am going to have lots of time to knit and spin. And I want to show y'all kind of where I'm at with all my works in progress and what I plan on getting done before the end of the year, what I plan to work on during my holiday. I know a lot of people like to clear off their needles for the new year. It's not really practical with what I have going on, and I might even be casting on some stuff, but we're gonna get into it. I thought I'd start with some of the spinning projects. I have this here, which if you recall is a shoebox of Rolags that I made with the intent of doing kind of an Advent adjacent situation. Got my support spindle in here and some Rolags, and I was gonna just spin a bit over this this time of the year. I have not started any of it yet, even though we're well into December, but definitely something I'm gonna spend a little bit of time with here and there over the break. I just had this little bit of yellow I started on here, and that's as far as I've gotten. Then something else I want to kind of prioritize during this time. Y'all remember my Eel Wheel Nano, William December Williams the third. I have the 3rd ply on him right now, and I got 2 bobbins here that are full, and I would like to finish up. Oh goodness, there's like crumbs in my basket. That's disgusting. I got this little bit of fiber left, and I'm going to do a 3 ply, and it's kind of cool sparkly colors together. And this has kind of just been, this is still my very first project that I've spun on here, and so I'm eager to actually have a finished skein of yarn that I can say came off of my Eel Wheel Nano. Oh, does that come off like that? Probably the thing I've been most consistent with is my drop spindle. So we got support spindle, we got electric wheel, and on my drop spindles I've been just doing this natural taupe yarn or fiber that I've gotten from RH Lindsay, and I've been spinning a little bit of this. I have this many balls spun off of my spindles, and so I'm just going to keep going until I guess I'm going to spin it all on my drop spindle. I got like a pound of this, and so it's going to be a lot of center pull balls, but I'm definitely going to be working on that. I'm not planning, probably the thing that is most, I guess, urgent to finish is I really want to prioritize finishing that spin on my electric wheel and getting that off of there and plying it, but this is like a long-term ongoing thing that I just do when I have a little bit of time. And then this bag represents what I have going on my big traditional wheel, my Ashra Traditional. And this is also from RH Lindsay. This is their rust-colored fiber, and I have a pound of this because I'm actually spinning for the Wintersol by Jen Steingass. And this has been kind of, if my top priority is doing the electric wheel spinning, and then I want to do a little bit of drop spindling, definitely want to do some support spindling. This is more of been a background project because this is definitely a product spin over a process spin. It's a pound of all of this rust colored fiber. I got a couple of center pull balls off of my wheel already. It's going to be a 3 ply. And The frustrating part with this is that I forget, I should have looked at what breed this was before I got on here, but this is a breed when I ordered this I had not spun before, and this is a comb top, and so it's like just a lot of short forward draw, which I've been, you know, doing my drop spindling. I've gotten better with long draw, and so it's just not the most exciting thing in the world. Plus with this comb top, the fibers, not felted, they weren't felted, they're just very, very compact, and so it was creating a very unpleasant sensory experience doing the short forward draw with like this very compacted fiber. And I usually pre-draft, and maybe I should have steamed it first or something, but what I've been doing is just ripping off a little bit of fiber at a time and running it through my drum carder a few times just to get a little bit of air in it, so it's not like I'm like fighting the fiber, and, you know, getting a little bit more of a rhythm with it. And so this is going to be a slow and steady wins the race kind of thing over here. And that's going to be more than enough spinning to keep me occupied for the next 2 weeks. So we're going to get into all of the works in progress I have. All right, so I really wanted to make a point to show all of my works in progress so I could really wrap my head around what I have going on. So first thing, I'm sure y'all know exactly what I'm about to pull out. I have my Kagan's quilt, which I already said I'm not going to be able to finish before the end of the year, but it would be nice to at least get it seamed. And I have 4 big squares to seam, and then I want to be able to get it on needles so I can start working on the what do you call that thing? The border. And so far, where, if I can find, I actually undid my swatch to use the yarn to seam. And where's this attached to? One of these places is, aha! I have seamed exactly this much. I had seamed a little bit more, and then I undid it because it's like the squares don't have the same amount of stitches. They're all different sizes, and you're doing some cast off edges, knit to some selvage edges, and so it's not like a 1-for-1 ratio, so you kind of have to play around with the knitting, or the seaming rather, to make it even. And so I ripped it back and started again. I might actually work on this tonight. We usually watch movies on Friday nights, and so I might take this downstairs and work on this tonight to make a little bit of headway. And that's Kagan's Quilt by Carolyn Bloom. And I would show it to you, but it's all balled up, and it's only 2 squares in here, and that's the other issue too. I have this massive bag that just has 2 squares in it, and then all of my leftover yarn. And then I have a whole nother bag that has the rest of the blanket in it. And so it would be really nice to, you know, decrease the amount of space this thing is taking up. And then once it's laying flat on my bed, which I just got a new mattress, so this would be lovely to get done, to put on my new mattress. I can reclaim 2 bags, and it cannot be just balled up, taking up space. I can find a place to put all this extra yarn, etc., etc. The next thing I'll show y'all is the progress I've made on, this is the Besties Hoodie by Tin Can Knits, and this is the back panel, and this is all I have so far. And this is not really a priority because it's fingering weight, size 2 needles, long sleeve, hoodie, pocket. It's all going to be a whole thing. So this is going to be what Kagan's quilt was for 2024. This is going to be for 2025. And so I'm not super impressed about this. I do actually enjoy knitting on it, but the progress is just very slow, and that's fine. Then the thing I've been spending up most of my time knitting on, which is why I kind of want to take a break and work on that blanket, is this sock tube that I showed y'all last time. And this is Knit Picks Felici. I'm making a long tube with forethought heels and toes. And I really, like I said, I am really enjoying working on this. And so this will probably get done in the next 2 weeks. I'm beginning to think that Felici might be one of my favorite yarns to work with. It's just very pleasant. In a way that, like I was saying, the feel of that rust colored fiber I'm working with, this is like the antithesis of this. It's like plump and soft, and my fingers feel super nimble working with it. And so that's that. Then I have this box, which I also showed y'all last time. This is my mending box. I've also tossed a couple of things that I want to frog in this box, and I'm just working 30 minutes every day, no matter what, which is actually kind of harder than it sounds, because like sometimes I get on a roll and I'm just like, well, I don't want to burn myself out because I want to be consistent with this. I finished the other socks that I mended that I showed y'all last time, and now I am on this sock, which I was in the middle of, and I just stopped at 30 minutes and put it back in the box. Duplicate stitching over where my woven in ends were too short. And it's always funny revisiting old knitting projects, because there's stuff like this where I tied together the ends of the yarn, and just things that I would not necessarily do today in my knitting project. So I'm actually finding little places where I do want to fix other things too. And so this is a process. And I'm definitely going to keep up with the 30 minutes a day, every day for the next 2 weeks. Then we're getting deeper. This is going by much quicker than I thought. Mostly because these aren't necessarily patterns or anything, like the socks, the hand spun. I just opened up, I can't show y'all the whole thing, but this is the top of one of my favorite things that I own. It's a table that I believe my family got for me from Target. There's a big wire basket, and then it has these slots where the handles poke through, and so there's this giant basket, and then when you put this on top, it becomes a little table. And so this is really great for storing my knits, and then putting my, working from the tabletop, putting my tea on the top. I put my electric wheel on the top of this, and I love this thing. Now we get to the thing that I really, really, really want to get finished over the next 2 weeks. This is my Limestone Stripy tee. And this is in my hand spun. And it's worse off than when I showed it to you last time, because I've since taken out this seam here, and I need to take this is grafted together here, and I need to unwind this and re-seam this, because it was buckling really bad, because this part, you can see it even better now. Actually, let me turn it around. You can see how this is like a rolled stockinette edge and how short this is. And so I need to take this apart, knit it a little bit longer, and re-seam it so it's nice and even across the back. And then obviously I still need to pick up for sleeves, pick up for bottom. Like I said, not much has changed since the last time you saw this, but this is definitely a priority because I would like to wear this. I thought it would be like my Christmas sweater for this year, but I don't think that that's going to happen. But this is one of those things, because I'm picking up stitches for the sleeves and making sure that that's nice and even. I had to spin for the remainder of the yarn, so that was a whole thing. But it's just one of those things where I need to be well rested, have a lot of time on my hands, and not be interrupted. And hopefully I can get something like that over the next 2 weeks, but it's definitely hard when I go to work all day. I come home, I'm tired, I have responsibilities in the home, etc., etc. So it's hard to get downtime. And even on the weekends, I'm sure some of y'all can relate. On the weekends, I have chores and, I want to do more, I guess, fun things or less mentally taxing things. And so it's just, I've been putting it off and it's going to get done. And I want to be wearing this before it is, I got time because winter here will go through like February, March and still be cold, but I expect it to have already worn this by now, and I'm kind of bummed that I'm not. Also, this is this Wagner. This is one of my favorite project bags, and right now it's just storage for this sweater, and I would like to actually use it for an active WIP. So that's going back in there. Then we're really digging in the crates now. This is ongoing project for me. I've been knitting. I told you I've been knitting just hats and just always having a hat on the needles. And I have leaned into like using kind of like my chunky yarn because I don't have a lot of chunky yarn, but if you know, chunky yarn comes in shorter yards. And so I don't have a lot of it, and I don't really have a lot of practical projects for the amount of yardage that you get. And so I'm just making a lot of hats out of some of my chunky, bulky stash. I have since finished, this is an all over ribbed hat I did with all my worsted weight scraps held double. And so this is done, and this is going to go in my little donation baggie. And now I've started with, I believe this is the Patton's chunky yarn. And I knit a brim, obviously, 2x2 rib, 64 stitches on size 10 needles. And now I've gotten into the body. But as I was knitting the body, I had like this calling in me, and I was just like, I kind of want to do color work. And so I have this chunky yarn, which this is Stitch and Story yarn, which I believe has been discontinued. I got this from a thrift store and it was white when I got it. And this was one of my early experiments with dyeing with Kool-Aid. And so I got 2 skeins of this, and it actually came with like a cowl pattern, and it was like kind of like a how to knit kit, which I think is what Stitch and Story, the brand, is all about. So it came with knitting needles, a pattern, and 2 balls of this, and I just bought it because it was white yarn and I wanted to play around with dyeing. And so I'm thinking that this would make some very handsome color work. So I need to do some research. I need to find a chart that works for 64 stitches. I'm thinking of like maybe like some snowflakes or something. So this is not really a priority right now because I kind of want to pause and think about what I want to do. And also I've been knitting on this when I take my kids to their extracurriculars and we're on break. And so this will go on break as well. The other thing about this, these are size 10 needles. These are Addie Rockets. And this is another reason I need to sit down and get organized. I was knitting on my ChowGu interchangeables, which are fine. I love ChowGus. But I was cleaning out my craft room. Actually, I was looking for something else. I probably was looking for those pom-pom makers. And I came across a zipped up bag that had these needles in there. The Addie Rocket, long taper, Addie Rockets, size 10, 24-inch cords. And these are some that I bought. A yarn store was going out of business, and so they had a bunch of needles on clearance. And so I was just like, oh, I've never tried Addie Rockets, let me buy some. Bought them, put them in a bag somewhere, never used them. Long story short, A, I need to organize my stuff better and actually use the stuff that I have. And B, these are like my favorite needles in the whole wide world. These are awesome, by the way. They're just like super like smooth, and they're like shiny too. Like the chow goos can sometimes like, they're not matte, but they scrape, and these just kind of like slide. And so I'm just like, these are the tops. So if you have not tried Addy Rockets and you like chow goos and you're like, oh, chow goos are great, I like chow goos too. The chow goos are my, like, I would have said those were my favorite needles, but I might want to buy a few more Addy Rockets. So this is going back in the bag, probably until 2025, or until, and that's another thing too about being on break. I can actually sit down and do some research, or I might actually break out some graph paper and just draw my own snowflakes on 64 grid. Then of course I'm actually in the middle of weaving in ends, but I have this sock I showed y'all last time. I have a bit of a cuff on my second sock. I've actually finished the cuff and now I'm on the body of the second sock. And on the same note as this, these are actually my lunch work break socks. And so these will probably hibernate until I go back to work in 2025. I think so. Yeah, these will probably, I'll probably see these again in 2025. And these are just vanilla socks, 64 stitches, German shirt row heel, not a specific pattern. And so you see why I'm not clearing off my needles before the end of the year. Then I got this guy. I might work on this in my nice 29 Bridges bag. I might take this tomorrow because we're going to go see my in-laws over the holiday break, and so this might be good car knitting. But this is my placemat that I worked on. I made placemats for Thanksgiving, and this is where I was at Thanksgiving dinner, and so I did not finish this one. So this was like, okay, Thanksgiving's over now, so this can go away somewhere. But this would be nice to pick up again. Maybe I think I'll take this in the car tomorrow. Maybe actually I have something else I want to take into the car, but we'll get into that later. But this is just like whenever, pick it up. But I do want to get it finished sooner rather than later, because this is the kind of thing that can just sit around forever and just take up space, when it's something that I could probably finish in like 2 days and just have done. I am in the process of tallying up the yarn that I used this year and reorganizing my yarn, so it would be nice to have that completed and add that to the spreadsheet. And we're down to the last bag. So far I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 WIPs. Then I have the box of stuff that is just like mending and random stuff, so I guess we could count that as 8. That's a lot, but I also feel like it's not necessarily like the amount, it's not even the quality. It's just I'm kind of itching for something else, so it's like I think I just need to wrap up some of the stuff that's almost done. Maybe that's what I'll do. Maybe I'll just prioritize the things that are just almost done and just knock them out like this placemat and just finish it. But that being said, and then I have obviously my spinning, but the spinning just kind of works itself out. So I am planning more cast-ons, because it's also a good time to cast things on, because I have the brain capacity to cast things on, and then I can get them to a spot where I can just pick them up on the weekends. So I got my Pine Barren Knits bag, and inside this bag, I don't know if y'all remember my thrift store yarn. This is just a random crinkly homespun looking acrylic, and I would like to cast on over the break sweaters for my children. I'm thinking about, I know for a fact one of my kids wants a cardigan, but I'm just like, I really want to cast on something like top down in the round, because I'm working flat on that hoodie. So I just have to kind of mull around with that. I don't know if I can convince her that a pullover is what she really wants, or just bite the bullet and just start the cardigan and it's not going to be that bad. Or maybe I'm thinking about doing like the Harvest cardigan because I have the Tin Can Knits app. Maybe I'll just do the whole thing in garter stitch. That's a thought. And then I have this other color too, so I have enough to do each kid. This is going to be for my older daughter because she likes yellow and it's got all the fall colors. My other daughter is not very picky, and I like this color too. It's not like it's an ugly color, but I don't think she'd mind if I just picked the color for her. And I was thinking about doing a flax by Tin Can Knits, top down. But maybe I'll just check back in with them and just double check. Like, are you sure you want a cardigan? Well, we'll see. So I would like to cast this on either on Christmas Day, or this might be my Kwanzaa cast on. Then the other thing I want to cast on that I was considering knitting in the car to go see my in-laws, and then, obviously as we're visiting with one another, we usually, we have dinner together, but it's very casual. And they are actually quite big fans of my knitting. I wanted to cast on, this is actually for one of my in-laws, so I definitely don't think they'd mind if I just sat and knit. One of my cousin-in-laws hit me up on the Instagrams and was just like, would you make me a hat? And I was just like, yes, of course I'd make you a hat. Not everyone can do that. Don't slide in my DMs and ask me to knit things, but I do very much don't mind knitting hats, especially for people that I care about. This is Queen's Yarn Boutique and her Pop Life fingering, and the colorway is, oh my goodness, where's the colorway? Oh, the colorway is Gemstone. And she said, can you knit me a fun hat? And I was just like, define fun, because my definition of fun might be different from your definition of fun. She's like, I like earth tones. I was like, okay, then our definitions of fun are two different things. And so it's got blues and browns, and she said she wanted like kind of like a slouchy beanie, and so I'm going to do the sock head hat by Boho Knits, who also has my favorite fingerless glove pattern. They do the sock head cowl, which I've knit for myself, and I've knit one of these sock head hats for another one of my in-laws before. So I really do enjoy their patterns for knitting, and I think it's going to be a great way to use up one of those really nice skeins of hand-dyed yarn for someone that is special to me. And also I didn't even realize I hadn't knit her a hat, because I've said so many times in the show that I've knit everyone I know a hat, and apparently I left a few people out. And so I might cast this on and knit it in the car and knit this while I'm visiting with my in-laws. So that brings 8 projects to maybe 9, 10, 11 projects by the time we get through with the holiday season. But I have a plan of attack, and not all of it, like, the socks, the hat, the colorwork hat that I'm working on, not all of it is like super urgent or anything like that. So I think we're good. I don't have anything super ambitious I have planned for 2025. I'm going to get into that in a couple of weeks. Probably the next episode is going to be me looking back on 2024 and some reflections, looking back at the goals I had. And then the next video after that, I'll talk about my goals for 2025. But I think my goals for 2025 are going to be like, just keep going. Like, knock some of this stuff out. It's going to be, I guess, a building year. I have a lot. I just reorganized and cleaned up my stash today. Wipe everything down. I like to keep everything vacuumed, especially after I just had one of my socks was damaged. So I like to, make sure there's no dust and dirt, and, take a good look at all my yarn, make sure it's intact and everything. And I have a lot of yarn, and I have a lot of good yarn. And so I think next year is going to be not like I'm not doing like a yarn diet, no buy, nothing like that, but definitely concentrating on the things I have, the patterns that I already have, and just knocking some things out. But yeah, like I said, we'll get into that next. I don't want to get too much into that now. But yeah, thank you for spending the time with me. Once again, I am at Rulude on Instagram, candibknittin here on YouTube. Obviously, I want you to like, I want you to subscribe. If you've unsubscribed, maybe resubscribe. I don't know. Share this video, like this video. You can email me, candibknittin@gmail.com. You can buy me a coffee on Ko-fi at Rulude. I think that's the long and short of it. But until next time, peace.